Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to make a video to talk a little bit about WingTchunDo and why is it different to classical Wing Chun. Fundamentally, firstly I'll say that we've got a very big project which is coming up, and it'll certainly explain a lot more about WingTchunDo, and we'll be showing a lot of information. But if I have to put it in a nutshell, WingTchunDo, what is different about it? Apart from the fact that we do learn classical, or you could call it classical, because the problem is here, a lot of people argue about what's real Wing Chun, what's not real Wing Chun, etc., etc. Do I have to do all the Chi Sao sections, all the dummy sections to obtain a high level? And for me, the answer is yes and no. It all really depends. Nevertheless, in my school structure, I teach you the core system where you learn all the forms, all the weapons, the long pole, the wooden dummy, the Bachang, Chi Sao, Lat Sao, sparring, learning how to go to full contact. I mean, I cover everything. Basic stuff on how a Wing Chun man would handle going to the ground, and obviously, you know, keeping the framework and the mentality always within the Wing Chun structure. So where do we break away? Well, we break away because fundamentally I believe that the best thing to learn is, if you have the ability, is through Chi Sao. You can have a global application, which is something which I find is lacking, right? I don't think that we need to be, at the end of the day, once you've done all your studying, you should have the freedom to be able to position your body weight especially, at any point to recycle energy. If I want to have global Chi Sao, that's what I call it. I can be in a position that looks like karate. I can be in a position that looks like boxing. There's no rules, there's no physical structure. I don't have to be in Yijin King Yang Ma to apply Chi Sao. I can be like this, I'm 50-50. And if he can give me pressure, I can recycle, push him away. I don't want to be bound. Alright, now I don't want this to be confused with a Jeet Kune Do principle, but even though I highly respect Jeet Kune Do, but I don't want to be bound by a fixed position. What does that mean? Wing Chun in itself, in reality, people think it's fixed, when it's not. It's actually quite a free style, and it seems fixed in the beginning, because, you know, beginners learn basic stuff, and they have to be conditioned to hold set positions so they can build their body up to have better reactions at a later date. Now, this is going to become a lot harder if people are going to be impatient and they don't have the patience to learn even to do the first form, or they think the first form is not useful, which there are a lot of people who don't believe that forms are useful. That's why I do teach what we would consider a traditional approach, where I will teach you the structure of Wing Chun. But then, once you've understood it, once your body structure is good, then there has to be a freedom of expression. You know, I'm working freely at the moment with Marcello. Marcello hasn't really ever done any Chi Sao, but I'm teaching him a global aspect of Chi Sao, which, you know, he tries to do. He hasn't been doing it for long. But fundamentally, what's really important when we're learning Chi Sao is the fact that in a real fight, I need for his arms and his body to be completely connected. Because if I really hammer him at close range with a heavy punch, he needs to really know how to handle that. So do me attack. If he attacks me, attack me identify. If he attacks me hard, I need to learn to have the angles, you know, and also it doesn't matter how he attack me con the void. I don't know how it's going to attack me. I need to keep the principles of Wing Chun alive, where I concentrate on the center line, right? And the more I dominate his center, the harder it's going to be for him to attack me. He's going to be conditioned to either grapple with my arms, or try, if he's a good fighter and he knows how to take me to the ground, maybe go in underneath. But the more I dominate his center, it's going to be hard for him to attack me. That's at close range or even at a long range. I'm still going to always apply the same principle. No matter where we are, if he attacks me, I am going to go straight into a center. And as I am counter-attacking, right, he's going to feel uncomfortable, and that's the whole idea of this system, you know, to attack not only just the head, but in reality I'm attacking his whole body structure, and I want to destroy that. So that's why global chi cells are important. It's like when I teach people to do security work, you know, I may be talking with a client and we go straight up to hands, because it's not necessarily going to happen that someone's going to start throwing punches or headbutts, although that is a possibility. But it's very important that even with chi sao, I need to learn various factors. One, that if my body is connected, right, it's not like when I do chi sao, it's not like I do chi sao, let's make out this is my partner, and I'm doing chi sao, and I do a reflex, and I do this, or I do a reflex, and I do this, or I do a reflex, and I do this. I mean, it can have functionality, but I'm not really going to do any damage. I need to learn to use my whole body structure, so that if you watch the difference, when I attack him and I fire the point of freedom, I'm going to come through with a faksa that's really going to put him out, you know, or I'm going to come through with a punch that really hits and destroys his whole body structure. And this is really important to understand. So there's a few ways of analysing chi sao. This is probably one of my personal preferences, because I like to dominate someone's center line, and then of course I go straight through and strike and destroy his balance. That's my personal preference. The harder part is learning to really recycle energy, and then if somebody's heavily coming onto you, learning to recycle and then come back and strike. But what ways of training this? Obviously I can't do this with my partner because I have to hit him, and we don't want that. But you can do that with a bag. You swing it, and incoming force as it comes to you, I learn to pivot and come straight in, or I learn to pivot and boom, throw an elbow strikes. As he's coming in, if it's some force that's coming through, it's going to have a more realistic application. So it's when we go back into chi sao and he gives me pressure, boom. You see how I'm not hitting him because I'm controlling myself, but in reality, if he really learns, if he really gives me pressure, from here, I'm going to use my whole body at this short range to either come through and whack, hit him with an elbow, or maybe whack, come through and hit him with a heavy faksa. But fundamentally, WingTchunDo, alright, it doesn't matter, even if it's, I can be very free, I can even apply a boxing application. Check it in today. So I'm asking him to really go enter. I need him to really come through. Now, here's a boxing punch. I've learned how to recycle his energy. So I can use boxing punch, coming in low, hitting in again, coming in with a hook. It doesn't really bother me, you know. I can chi sao anywhere. And this is where a lot of the programs of WingTchunDo is going to be going, and we're going to be showing you specific work to help you gain, let's say, that freedom where you can use chi sao, restructure your body, and use chi sao as a real weapon for not only diverting, but more importantly, learning how to attack. And people must really get out of the fact, what a lot of people think in the wrong way. I'll give you an example. If we're applying a chi sao application, a lot of people think, right, that if he does give me pressure, they think, oh, I have to learn to give way and then attack, right? If I start thinking I have to learn to give way or I have to learn to be passive, then it becomes a two-thought process. I know in the end it's supposed to be a singular movement, but in reality, if you keep conditioning students to have, first you've got to be free of your energy, first you've got to be passive, first you've got to give way to energy, you're not really teaching him anymore the concept of attacking. So what's the point? So if I learn via my attack, let's say I attack and he's stronger than me, I still attack and I counter-attack. I learned through the mentality of attacking how to be passive, how to give way. But I learn it with not a two-thought concept, I learn it in a one-thought concept. Because in real fighting, people are going to have singular emotive instincts. And what do I mean by that? That if I want to put somebody out, I'm certainly not going to think of being passive, I'm certainly not going to think of doing a paksa or a counter. You can say these are all automated reactions, you can say whatever you want, and therefore if it's automated or if it's drilled properly, it'll work. It'll probably work, against the average Joe Blow. But let's face it, with Wing Chun or WingTchunDo, we want to evolve and always get better. So whatever he does to me, for me, it's always important to occupy a center line. He attacks me, I need to, I don't know what he's going to do. But I need to always occupy his center line. I always got to learn to attack. So passiveness, which is one big deal in the WingTchunDo concepts, passiveness needs to be learned through attacking. Okay, and that's a fairly long concept. I'll be doing a seminar soon in France where I'll be explaining a lot of this sort of stuff. But that just gives you a basic idea of where WingTchunDo is going, and whoever's interested or likes what we're doing, just write to us and join our upcoming project where you learn lots about WingTchunDo. Okay, all the best, Phil.